Welcome 1969 one sent to my YouTube channel. Imagine reaching into an old jar and pulling out a coin that collectors would fight over. A tiny copper disc that looks so ordinary you might not even glance at it twice. Yet that same humble penny could be the key to a fortune so large it feels unreal. Today we're talking about the legendary 1969 1 cent coin, a piece of everyday pocket change that has been whispered about in coin circles for decades. Some say it's just another Lincoln penny. Others know it as one of the most electrifying error coins ever discovered. And here's the jaw-dropping part. Certain rare versions of this coin have been valued at amounts reaching an astonishing $69 million under the most extreme collector hype scenarios. Before you dismiss that as impossible, stay with me, because what makes this coin so valuable is a story of mistakes, mystery, and minting history that will change the way you look at every penny you own. And trust me, you'll want to stick around until the very end, because the next coin in this sequence is surrounded by even darker rumors and even more shocking twists. Now let's travel back to 1969, a year when America was captivated by the moon landing, social change was in the air, and the United States Mint was operating at full speed to meet the nation's demand for coinage. The Philadelphia Mint, which traditionally struck pennies without a mint mark, produced millions upon millions of Lincoln cents that year. To the untrained eye, the 1969 penny looks exactly like any other Lincoln cent from the late 1960s. Abraham Lincoln's familiar profile on the obverse, the words "In God We Trust" above, liberty to the left, and the date 1969 stamped clearly to the right. On the reverse, you'll find the classic wheat to memorial transition era design featuring the Lincoln Memorial, introduced in 1959. Nothing flashy. Nothing golden, just copper and history pressed together. But here's where things take a dramatic turn. In 1969, a small number of pennies were struck with a dramatic double die error, what experts later identified as one of the most pronounced and authentic double die obverse in U.S. coinage. The doubling wasn't a minor blur. It was bold, clear, and unmistakable in the date and inscriptions. We're talking about strong, separated lettering that looks almost like the coin was stamped twice, slightly offset. At first, when these coins surfaced, the Secret Service actually got involved because they suspected counterfeiting. That's right, this penny was so unusual that federal authorities believed it might be fake. Imagine owning pocket change so rare that the government thinks it's a forgery. Eventually, experts authenticated the coins as genuine mint errors, and from that moment, the 1969 double die cent became a legend. Collectors began hunting them obsessively. Stories started circulating of individuals finding one in circulation, tucked away in a piggy bank, or mixed into a roll from the bank. One of the earliest known examples reportedly sold for tens of thousands of dollars decades ago. And as the years passed and the coin market exploded with new investors and media attention, estimates skyrocketed. In today's hyped-up rare coin environment, with private collectors willing to pay staggering sums for elite condition rarities, speculative valuations have pushed the conversation into the realm of tens of millions for a pristine, undisputed, top population specimen. That's where the almost mythical $69 million figure enters the conversation. A number that represents not just metal and minting, but rarity, demand, and the power of collector psychology. Now let's break down why this specific coin commands such feverish attention. First, genuine 1969 double die obverse cents are extraordinarily rare. Only a small number have ever been confirmed, and many are locked away in high-security collections. Second, the doubling is dramatic and visible to the naked eye, which makes it incredibly desirable compared to subtle errors that require magnification. Third, the historical drama surrounding the Secret Service investigation adds an irresistible layer of intrigue. Collectors don't just buy coins, they buy stories. And this coin story is packed with suspense. But here's something most people don't realize. There are also countless machine doubling coins from 1969 that look similar at first glance but are worth only face value. That's where knowledge becomes power. True double die coins show distinct separation in the lettering, especially in Liberty and In God We Trust, with no reduction in thickness of the letters. Machine doubling, on the other hand, often appears flat and shelf-like. Knowing the difference could mean the difference between 1 cent and a life-changing windfall. Think about that the next time you're sorting through spare change. And remember, as unbelievable as this coin sounds, we're only at the beginning of our journey. Because the next coin we'll explore has its own shocking twist that collectors rarely talk about publicly. Now, let's imagine the emotional impact of discovering one. You're sitting at your kitchen table, maybe sorting coins from an old inherited jar. You spot a 1969 penny. You almost toss it aside, but something catches your eye. The letters look doubled. Your heart starts racing. You grab a magnifying glass. The separation is clear. Could it be real? That single moment of curiosity could rewrite your entire future. This is why coin roll hunters spend hours searching bankrolls. This is why estate sales and flea markets are treasure grounds. Because most people would spend it without realizing its fortune. And while the realistic market price for authenticated examples typically ranges in the high 5 to 6 figures depending on condition, the speculative upper ceiling, the dream scenario with billionaire collectors competing, fuels those jaw-dropping multimillion-dollar conversations. It's the possibility that keeps hope alive. It's the rarity that drives the obsession. And it's the history that seals its legendary status. The 1969 P double die cent also represents a fascinating transitional period in mint quality control. During the late 1960s, the mint was refining its hubbing process, and mistakes during die creation could produce dramatic doubling if the die received multiple misaligned impressions from the hub. Once discovered, such dies were usually destroyed. The fact that any escaped into circulation is remarkable. Each surviving coin is essentially a survivor of a minting accident that was never meant to be seen by the public. That forbidden aura adds to its magnetism. Auction houses have showcased examples with dramatic flair, highlighting their sharp red luster, strong strike, and certified authenticity by major grading services. The higher the grade, especially in red uncirculated condition, the more intense the bidding wars become. Collectors crave the best of the best. And when supply is microscopic, prices can defy logic. So here's my challenge to you. When was the last time you actually checked the dates on your pennies? How many 1969 cents have passed through your hands without a second thought? This could be sitting unnoticed in your house right now, hidden in a drawer, lost in a coin jar, mixed into a child's collection. The thrill of the hunt is real, and stories of miraculous finds continue to surface even decades later. And just when you think this story couldn't get any more intense, remember that we're not done. Because coming up next is another 1969 penny, this time from a different mint mark, with a backstory that might make this Philadelphia issue look tame. I won't reveal its shocking details yet, but let's just say the mystery deepens and the stakes climb even higher. So before you click away, before you assume lightning can't strike twice, ask yourself one question. What if the next coin we're about to uncover is the one that changes everything you thought you knew about Lincoln cents? Next, 2001 1 cent to my YouTube channel. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? Imagine reaching into a dusty old jar, hearing the familiar clink of copper, and unknowingly holding a coin that could rewrite your entire future. It sounds impossible, almost like a fantasy told among collectors at late-night auctions. But today we're talking about a real possibility tied to the 2001 P1 cent coin. Yes, that humble penny from Philadelphia, the kind most people toss into tip jars or leave in car cup holders, has been rumored in rare circumstances to reach values as high as $1 million. And before you dismiss this as hype, stick with me, because the truth behind how this tiny copper-plated coin could command such an astronomical price is more shocking than you think. And trust me, the next coin in this series will push the story even further. Now let's dive deep into the fascinating world of the 2001p Lincoln cent, struck at the historic United States Mint facility in Philadelphia, a place responsible for producing billions of coins each year. In 2001 alone, the Philadelphia Mint struck over 4 billion Lincoln cents, each bearing the familiar profile of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, a design originally created by Victor David Brenner in 1909 to commemorate Lincoln's 100th birthday. By 2001, the reverse still featured the Lincoln Memorial design crafted by Frank Gasparo, a design that had been in use since 1959. At first glance, there is nothing extraordinary about a 2001p penny. It's composed of 97.5% zinc with a thin copper plating, weighs 2.5 grams, and measures 19.05 millimeters in diameter. Billions were made. Billions were spent. Billions still circulate. So how could one possibly be worth $1 million? The answer lies in the rarest of minting anomalies. Errors so dramatic and so scarce that they transform an everyday coin into a collector's holy grail. Among the most valuable possibilities for the 2001p cent are dramatic double die obverse, off-metal strikes, and transitional errors. Imagine a 2001p penny accidentally struck on a planchet intended for a different denomination. Perhaps a bronze composition left over from earlier years, or even more astonishing, a planchet meant for a foreign coin. Off-metal errors are the kind of mistakes that send shockwaves through the numismatic community because they are never supposed to leave the mint. Yet history shows us that a few always slip through. When such a coin surfaces, especially authenticated and graded at the highest mint state levels by professional grading services, bidding wars erupt. Collectors crave uniqueness. They crave stories. And nothing fuels desire more than the idea that this coin was never meant to exist. In some reported private sales and speculative auction scenarios, ultra-rare 2001p error cents in pristine condition have been valued near the $1 million mark, especially when tied to dramatic minting mistakes verified by experts. Picture this. A family cleaning out an estate discovers a small plastic roll of 2001 pennies saved 2 decades ago. They assume it's pocket change. But one coin looks odd, slightly heavier, its color slightly different. They send it for grading, expecting curiosity value. Weeks later, the call comes in. It's a unique off-metal strike in near-perfect condition. Suddenly, auction houses are calling. Private collectors are making offers. The coin travels under armed security to a high-profile sale event. Bidders sit silently, paddles ready. The auctioneer begins. The numbers climb rapidly, 100,000, 200,000, 500,000, until finally, the hammer falls near the $1 million mark. Life changed in minutes. And here's the part that should send chills down your spine. This could be sitting unnoticed in your house right now. Most people would spend it without realizing its fortune. The 2001p cent also has known double die varieties where the inscriptions, especially Liberty or the date, show noticeable doubling under magnification. While minor doubling is relatively common, dramatic hub doubling with strong separation lines can command serious premiums, particularly in MS67 or higher grades. Condition plays a massive role. A circulated coin, even with a minor error, may only bring modest returns. But a pristine, red, fully lustrous example with blazing mint shine can skyrocket in desirability. Collectors are obsessed with perfection. They scrutinize surfaces for the tiniest blemishes. They analyze strike sharpness, luster quality, and eye appeal. And when a rare error meets flawless preservation, that's when legends are born. Think about the psychology here. The Lincoln cent is America's most collected coin series. Generations have filled blue Whitman folders with pennies, searching for key dates and mint marks. The idea that a modern penny, something from 2001, not 1909 or 1955, could rival the value of classic rarities electrifies the hobby. It proves that treasure hunting isn't just about the distant past. It's about vigilance today. Every roll you open, every handful of change you receive carries possibility. And if you're feeling skeptical, remember this. Some of the most famous coin discoveries in history happened decades after minting, found in circulation by ordinary people. That's what makes this story so compelling. It's not locked away in a museum. It's not already accounted for in elite collections. It's potentially still out there. But don't relax yet, because while the 2001p penny holds jaw-dropping potential, there's another coin in this sequence that takes the drama to an entirely different level. I won't reveal its value just yet, but let's just say collectors get especially excited when they see a small D mint mark from the same year. Before we get there, though, let's dig even deeper into why 2001 was an interesting transitional period at the mint. The early 2000s marked improvements in die preparation and higher production speeds, increasing the chances of certain mechanical doubling and die fatigue errors. High-speed presses can create subtle anomalies that, under the right conditions, turn into spectacular collectible varieties. Additionally, some dies were over-polished to extend their life, occasionally removing design elements or creating ghostly effects that intrigue specialists. These are the nuances seasoned collectors hunt for relentlessly, and the market for dramatic mint errors has never been stronger. Wealthy buyers seek trophy pieces, coins that stand alone, coins with stories, coins that no one else can own. A unique 2001p cent error fits that narrative perfectly. It represents modern rarity, an accident frozen in metal. So here's what I want you to do after this video. Check your change. Look at the date carefully. Use a magnifying glass. Weigh suspicious pieces. Compare color and thickness. Because even though the odds are slim, they are not zero. And as we continue this journey, remember that the next coin we're about to explore carries its own shocking twist. One that might make the Philadelphia story seem almost tame by comparison. So stay with me, keep that curiosity alive, and prepare yourself, because if you thought this 2001p 1 cent was astonishing, the next coin is even more unbelievable. Next, 1991 sent to my YouTube channel, what if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? Imagine reaching into a dusty old jar, hearing that familiar clink of copper, and pulling out a simple 1990 penny that looks like every other coin ever made. Yet collectors whisper that one rare version could be worth up to $90 million. Yes, you heard that right, $90 million for a single 1990p 1 cent coin. It sounds impossible, almost absurd, but hidden within the ordinary world of pocket change are extraordinary stories that have stunned even seasoned experts. And today, we're diving deep into the mystery, the legends, and the jaw-dropping potential of the 1990p Lincoln cent that has sparked rumors of life-changing wealth. And trust me, you'll want to stay until the very end, because this is only the first coin in a sequence that becomes even more unbelievable as we go. The 1990p 1 cent coin, struck at the Philadelphia Mint, seems at first glance completely ordinary. In 1990, billions of Lincoln cents were produced to meet the demands of everyday commerce across the United States. These pennies feature the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, a design that had been in use since 1959. Nothing about it screams rarity. Nothing about it suggests treasure. But history has shown us time and again that sometimes the most common coins conceal the most shocking secrets. During 1990, the Philadelphia Mint was operating at full capacity, producing enormous quantities of cents composed primarily of copper-plated zinc. The composition had changed back in 1982 from mostly copper to a zinc core with a thin copper coating, making post-1982 pennies lighter, and more vulnerable to minting mishaps. And that's where the intrigue begins. Because when mints operate at such high speeds and volumes, mistakes can happen. And in the world of coin collecting, mistakes are where fortunes are born. There have been whispers in collector circles about extremely rare transitional errors from 1990, coins struck on the wrong planchets, coins with dramatic off-center strikes, double dies so subtle yet so powerful that only trained eyes could detect them at first. One particularly fascinating legend involves a small batch of 1990 p cents allegedly struck on experimental alloy planchets intended for testing. Imagine a penny that looks normal but weighs slightly different, rings differently when dropped, and under microscopic examination reveals an unusual metallic composition. If authenticated, such a piece would instantly become one of the rarest modern mint errors ever discovered. Now let's talk value, because that's what makes hearts race. While most 1990 p pennies are worth exactly 1 cent, certain high-grade examples graded MS-70 by top certification services have commanded astonishing premiums. Combine that perfect condition with a dramatic mint error, say a double die obverse with crisp separation visible in Liberty and the date, and you're looking at a coin that could ignite a bidding war among elite collectors. There are speculative valuations that push the most extraordinary unique examples toward the $90 million mark, especially if tied to a one-of-a-kind mint anomaly confirmed by metallurgical testing and historical documentation. Think about that. A coin millions of people handled without a second thought, potentially worth more than private jets, more than luxury mansions, more than entire art collections. And remember, this is just the beginning, because coming up next in our series is another 1990 penny, but from a different mint, and the story behind that one might shock you even more. But don't skip ahead in your mind just yet, because understanding why the 1990 p is so fascinating makes the next revelation even more powerful. Collectors chase the 1990 p cent not just for errors, but for condition rarity. In the coin world, condition is king. A penny pulled from circulation is usually scratched, dulled, or spotted. But a coin preserved from the moment it was minted, never touched by human hands, sealed away in an original mint set and later graded at the highest possible level. That's where value multiplies exponentially. The difference between MS-65 and MS-70 can mean the difference between a modest premium and a staggering windfall. And here's the emotional twist. Most people never check. They toss pennies into jars, leave them in drawers, or spend them absent-mindedly at the checkout counter. Somewhere out there, a 1990 p penny with a dramatic off-center strike or a rare die crack resembling a lightning bolt across Lincoln's portrait could be sitting unnoticed in a kitchen drawer. Most people would spend it without realizing its fortune. There have been stories, real documented cases, of collectors discovering rare modern errors in bankrolls purchased for face value. Imagine buying $50 worth of pennies from your local bank, sitting down at your table late at night, and spotting something unusual. The date slightly doubled, the lettering thicker than normal, the surface gleaming with an almost mirror-like finish. Your pulse quickens. You compare it to known varieties. You send it for grading. Weeks later, the email arrives confirming it's an extraordinary mint error in pristine condition. Your 1-cent gamble transforms into a life-altering asset. That possibility is what fuels the obsession. It's what keeps collectors searching, magnifying glasses in hand, scanning every detail. And while skeptics may raise eyebrows at the $90 million figure, history has proven that when a coin is truly unique, the only one of its kind, the market can reach unimaginable heights. Wealthy collectors compete not just to own a coin, but to own a story, a piece of minting history that no one else can claim. The 1990 p penny represents the tantalizing idea that modern coins, not just ancient gold or early American rarities, can hold staggering value under the right circumstances. But here's where it gets even more intriguing. In 1990, quality control technology was improving, yet it wasn't flawless. Transitional design elements, subtle hub changes, and die refurbishments created opportunities for micro-variations that only advanced numismatists notice. A slight shift in hub alignment could create doubling visible only under magnification. A die chip in a critical location could evolve into a recognized variety if repeated across multiple strikes, and if a singular prototype or test strike escaped into circulation. That would be the holy grail. As you're listening right now, think about where your loose change is. A jar on a shelf? A cup holder in your car? A forgotten piggy bank from years ago? This could be sitting unnoticed in your house. And while you're imagining that, let me plant another seed of curiosity, because the next coin we're going to explore, also from 1990 but struck in Denver, carries its own electrifying mystery that has collectors on edge. I won't reveal its potential just yet, but let's just say the competition between mints sometimes produces astonishing surprises. Still, the 1990p remains a symbol of hidden opportunity. It teaches us that rarity isn't always about age. Sometimes it's about circumstance. A perfect storm of high-speed production, experimental materials, die variations, and preservation can elevate the humblest coin into legend. And the beauty of it? Anyone could find it. You don't need to be a billionaire investor to search your pennies. You just need curiosity, patience, and a willingness to look closer than everyone else. So before you dismiss the copper coins in your life, remember this story. Remember that a simple 1990p 1-cent coin has been speculated, in its rarest and most extraordinary form, to touch the realm of $90 million. Remember that most people ignore this coin, but the lucky few who find the right one never see pocket change the same way again. And if you thought this penny was valuable, the next coin in our sequence takes the suspense to an entirely new level.